Cation Army, a very warm welcome to your today's chemistry session. I hope that you all have been doing amazing, and this class is going to be super duper important because we're gonna quickly revise electrolysis for ICSE students, right? So that's a one-shot revision session if in case you are worried about any topic from this chapter, या फिर any part that you didn't understand, or you haven't done the thorough revision, you haven't even started the chapter, then this is the class for you, right? So make sure that you stay connected till the very end in the session. Shilpi Ma'am will keep on giving you some chote questions that you will give me the answers in the comment section, right? So let's get started without wasting any time. If in case you are new on the channel, then my Cation Army has to subscribe to it. And yes, let's get started. I'm your chemistry master teacher Shilpi Kaushik at Vedantu. If in case you people are coming to my class for the very first time, then you can know about Shilpi Ma'am more if you keep on attending my sessions, right? We're gonna ace the chemistry exams, and right now we are targeting the term 1. But don't worry, term 2 ka syllabus we will do side by side, okay? So that's not a problem at all. So you can just keep on preparing yourself, but starting with some positive motivation, because I can understand that what you guys are going through right now. You would be actually pressurized because you know the exam is approaching now. Term 1 is very close. Some things are new in the pattern. You are not aware about a lot of things. You still have some certain sort of insecurities. Don't worry about that. Just stay happy, and you have one thing with you, and that no one can snatch. What is that? That is your hard work and continuous dedication. If you are dedicated, if you are committed to yourself, then no one can stop you from progressing in life. Yes, so yeah, as the quote says that if you really want to do something, you will find a way, definitely. And if you don't want to do it, you will find an excuse. So it's never about having time. Life mein there is nothing that is about having time. I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that. It's always about making time. Yes, so make sure that you make out time for the things which are actually a priority to you. Yes, and by the end of the session, what you would be able to answer this question. Abhi to you might not be knowing the answer. The aqueous solution of nickel sulfate contains nickel ions and sulfate ions. Which ion move towards the cathode? What is the product at the anode? Don't know? You know the answer? Comment section is waiting for you, and Shilpi Ma'am always checks all the comments of every video, and I remember the name of my students also. So don't worry, ICSE students, I have an eye on you as well, right? Okay, so you would be knowing that cathode is the negative terminal, anode is the positive, and you know the electrostatic forces of attraction say that like charges repel each other, unlike charges attract. So that is a hint for you. So now you decide which ion will go to which electrode in the comment section, and otherwise ma'am will also tell you, don't worry, right? So yeah, let's get started with the chapter. What exactly is electrolysis? Why are we doing it? Why is it so important? So electrolysis is such a branch in science that, you know, it's known for breaking the strongest bond possible. You have aluminium oxide. Aluminium is not leaving oxygen at all. They have the strongest friendship ever. They are not separated by anything. Bring electricity. Call electricity hai. Electricity can help you to break the strongest bonds possible, right? So electricity is that force. Electrolysis mein the term electro means electricity clearly, and lysis means breakdown. So when you are breaking down a substance because of the presence of electricity, using electricity, you are passing direct electric current through it, then the process is known as electrolysis, and it has wide variety of applications across all the industries, right? Now you need to make one thing very sure, that direct electric current through aqueous solution or the fused state. Solid state में electrolytes are not going to work. So if you take the solid state of a substance like compound you are taking, then that won't be present in the free ions. Just say if you are going to take sodium chloride in the solid state, then it won't be conducting electricity, because in the solid state all the ions are stacked together with a very strong force of attraction. Okay, so they are not loose, ions abhi bhi hai, but they are not free to move. So if they are not doing that, if they are not allowed to move, they cannot conduct electricity. So point to be noted that this is only about the aqueous solution where you have taken water in your compound. Water is going to break it. Just as sodium chloride mein, if you are putting water, water will break it to give us free sodium ions as well as the chloride ions. So once you have the free ions, then they can conduct electricity. Or the second thing, fused state. Fused state means I want to talk about the melted state. Like you have a substance, sodium chloride, its melting point is 801 degrees Celsius. So you heat it around 800 degrees Celsius. Then what will happen? Near to its melting point, ions will be free to move. Yes, so that is one thing that will help you to discharge the ions at the respective electrons. So we are simply breaking down a substance using electricity. That's what we do in electrolysis. And a minor like chotu sa topic, what is an electrolyte and a non-electrolyte? So it's very simple. Electrolyte is that substance which undergoes that decomposition. Jैसे you had taken sodium chloride in the aqueous state, you are passing electricity through it, so this will be acting as the electrolyte. Okay, so electrolyte is the substance which undergoes chemical decomposition when electricity is passed through it. Electrolytic decomposition होता है, and non-electrolyte does not undergo decomposition due to the flow of electric current. Now non-electrolyte name itself is telling you, nope, I am not gonna break down by any chance. So electrolyte में क्या होता है? They conduct electricity through the fused or the aqueous solution. But in the non-electrolytes, even if you take the aqueous solution, you take the fused solution, even then they won't conduct electricity. जैसे देखो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हो, I have taken alcohol C2H5OH, take the aqueous solution, pass electricity, it will still be present in the form of molecules. Okay, no free ions are involved there, and somehow this is a result of the type of bonding. जब आप यहाँ पर लेते हो, there is a covalent bond that is involved over here, and covalent bonds are not going to give you free ions in the aqueous solution. But electrolytes are generally the ionic salts. ठीक है, वो कैसे होते हैं? Generally they are either ionic compounds. Electrolytes are generally ionic compounds, or they are like polar covalent compounds. Like they should have certain sort of electronegativity difference between the two atoms. जैसे if you talk about HCl, HCl is also a covalent compound but polar covalent. So hydrogen is electropositive, Cl is electronegative there. So ऐसे cases में bond can break if you are taking the aqueous solution or like any molten I'm talking about, right? So you can talk about non-electrolytes clearly. These are ionic or covalent में करो polar covalent about the electrolytes, and these are simply covalent compounds, so they are made by sharing the electrons, right? So we don't get any free ions as such in the solution. So even if you pass electricity through them, aqueous solution में they stay in the form of molecules, जबकि यहाँ पर majorly they will be existing in the form of free ions or ions and molecules. जैसे if you take the weak electrolyte, then some it will be partially ionizing. So some ions, some molecules you would be getting. We have taken some examples in here. यहाँ देखो distilled water, that is the pure water. So distilled water में क्या होता है? We remove out all the kind of impurities, all the salt from the water. So once you have removed all the salt from the water, when you pass electricity through it, then there is no salt that can undergo electrolytic decomposition. So you don't get any free ions. So this is a very famous question that distilled water does not conduct electricity, but tap water can do that. So you know the reason, distilled water में we don't have free ions, but tap water में there are variety of impurities, impure salts are there. They can undergo that, right? Okay, the next thing is the general classification of electrolytes. We have some electrolytes strong and some weak electrolytes. So strong electrolytes में क्या होता है, they are completely ionized in the solution. You can see they have high degree of dissociation. So let's say I have taken potassium hydroxide, you have taken 5 moles of it in water, then almost all the 5 moles will completely break down to give us potassium and hydroxide ions. So they conduct, because there are large amount of ions, they are completely broken down into ions. So इसका मतलब in your electrolytic solution you have large amount of ions, है ना? तो ऐसा है, that means they can conduct large amount of electricity. Okay, but if I talk about weak, the name is telling you they are weak. So they are not completely ionized, rather they are partially ionized, or I can say they are weakly broken down. So you would be having some ion, some molecule, so they won't be able to conduct electricity to such an extent because of the partial dissociation. यहाँ पर complete होता है. Okay, and strong acids and strong bases of most of the salt, example you can take HCl is there, nitric acid is there, so they are completely ionized. ठीक है, यहाँ पर कुछ examples आप ले सकते हो. Generally the organic acids, the acids which you get from the natural sources, they are generally weak. Not always, generally होता है. Although you have carbonic acid as an exception, that is a mineral acid, but still it is a weak electrolyte. ठीक है, अदरवाइज जनरली ऐसा होता है दैट मिनरल एसिड्स आर स्ट्रॉन्ग. जैसे देखो HCl, नाइट्रिक, दे आर ऑल्सो देयर, सिंथेटिकली यू हैव प्रिपेयर्ड देम. So you can remember that thing. And one more point, if you, let's say you have an electrolyte, आप एक electrolyte ले लो, strong electrolyte, hydrochloric acid. On the other hand, you take acetic acid, take 2 metal rods, connect them to the battery, connect a bulb there. So you will see that when you have taken strong electrolyte, the bulb will glow very brightly. But in the case of weak electrolyte, bulb जो है, it will glow very dim because of the ions, lack of ions over there, right? So what is an electrolytic cell or the voltmeter? That is the device in which we carry out this entire process. ये जो आप tank लेते हो ना, the tub that you're gonna take, okay, that would be the beaker or the tank, whatever you are taking, in which we are carrying out the electrolysis. We call it electrolytic cell. So what are the major components if you want to do the electrolysis? We need electrolytic cell, we need electrolyte. The third essential thing are the electrodes. So electrodes क्या होते हैं? They are the metal rods. Why metal rods? Because you know metals are very good electron donors. They have free electrons. देखो इसका ज़रूरत क्या पड़ता है metal rods का? The name is telling you, electricity के लिए rod is the metal plate, simple a plate that you are taking. So why we need it? Because whenever we have an aqueous solution, or let's say we have a molten solution, then we need some medium to transfer the electrons. Electrons ऐसे अपने आप नहीं ना उड़ सकते हैं, है ना? So we need some way to transfer that current, to pass that current and electrons through a surface. So electrodes are gonna act as that surface which will help us to conduct electricity in the solutions. इसीलिए हमें चाहिए होता है. So we would be taking metal plates or simply carbon rods you can take. कौन से carbon rods? Graphite. Carbon although is a non-metal. You can think about it, ma'am, why will we take a non-metal? But the allotrope, one of the allotrope of carbon is graphite, and it has free electrons. So because of that, it can conduct electricity, it can act as that medium. So this electrode is connected to the terminals of the battery, suspended in the electrolyte, and we do it. देखो जैसे ऐसे होगा. This is the electrolytic tank, this is electrolyte, this entire is the tank, and इसके अंदर I have kept my electrolyte, and these are 2 metal plates which we call as electrodes, and these electrodes are connected via a metal wire to a battery. These are the metal ke wires simply. So this is a basic setup and we have to do lots of examples, so don't worry about that, right? So now the next thing is type of electrodes. ये तो आपने देख लिया, these electrodes are the metal plates, but there are also different type of electrodes. The first one is anode, the second is cathode. Don't confuse it to anions and cations, charges especially. So anode is given a name because it attracts anion. Anode का नाम कैसे आया? Attracts anions. And anions क्या होते हैं? Anions are negatively charged particles and we call them cathode because they attract. Cathode attracts the cations and cations are positively charged ions. Okay, so anions would be attracted to a positive terminal. A negative charge is attracted to a positive charge. So anode is that metal rod which is connected to positive terminal of the battery and it will be having the positive charge. It attracts the anions, ma'am has told you already. And cathode पर क्या होगा? Attracts the cations, positive ions. So it is having a negative charge itself and is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. ठीक है, मुश्किल नहीं है, बहुत ईजी है, जस्ट गो थ्रू इट वंस. देखो आई एम गोना टेल यू हेयर, यहाँ पर समझो अच्छे से समझ आएगा. टैंक, इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, ओके ये बाहर निकल गया है थोड़ा. इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, इलेक्ट्रोड्स, metal wire connected to positive terminal, negative terminal. That electrode which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery will be having a positive charge and we will call it anode. That electrode which is connected to negative of the battery will have a negative charge and we will be calling it cathode. Okay, so at anode, anions, negative ions are attracted. At cathode, positive ions are attracted. ठीक है, and you should also remember anode पर क्या होता है? Anode पर oxidation is gonna take place. Oxidation occurs at anode and cathode पर क्या होगा? Reduction that would be taking place. At anode we have oxidation. At cathode we are having reduction. So there's a trick to remember this. You should know, देखो ये बात ध्यान रखना आप, that oxidation is loss of electrons. ये तो नहीं भूलते हो, oxidation means loss of electrons. So whenever a negative ion will go to anode, it will lose the electrons. And cathode पर reduction होता है, reduction is gain of electrons. So whenever a positive ion is going to the cathode, it will gain the electrons and get discharged over there. So you can use a simple trick, oil trick. Oxidation is loss of electrons, reduction is gain of electrons. Oxidation is loss of electrons, reduction is gain of electrons. ठीक है, you can do this. And what is happening? Oxidation anode पर होता है and reduction होता है cathode पर. So you can use a trick here. जैसे हिंदी में आप use कर सकते हो OACR. बहुत सारी ट्रिक्स होती हैं. सो हाउ आई यूज टू रिमेंबर इट इन हिंदी लैंग्वेज, ओए CR फॉर चुप रहे, ओए चुप रहे. सो लाइक ओए, सो लाइक यू नो कबीर सिंह, नीचे रख, ओए चुप रहे, दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. मतलब दैट इज वन ट्रिक. यू कैन जस्ट मेक अनदर वन ऑल्सो. जैसे एक ये भी होती है PAO-NCR, पाव NCR. This is also like vada pav से pav is coming and then NCR is like you know that region, है ना. So this is positive anode oxidation, positive anode oxidation and negative cathode reduction. Okay, you can use this trick. या फिर ओए चुप रहे से अगर आप करें, oxidation happens at the anode and at cathode reduction happens. And oil rig तो ma'am has already shared with you. Oxidation is loss of electrons, reduction is gain of electrons. Okay, so you will understand it better. ये तो general introduction था about some simple terms. Now ma'am wants to tell you one thing, that if you people are not very certain about your term 1 preparation, you have some fear in you, because देखो class 10th is very important and class 10th होता है एक ही बार, only one time this will happen in your lifetime. It's like once in a lifetime of thing, and that is important actually, right? So 10th board के लिए if you are still not sure कि मैम term 1 में there's a lot of syllabus for ICSE students, I'm not able to manage physics, chemistry, bio and maths at the same time, then Vedantu has a solution for you, because we are starting a crash course now. ये crash course is really gonna benefit you because we have 2 plans for you. ठीक है, ध्यान से सुनो. The first plan for ICSE students is in case you want complete 4 month का package. जैसे आपके एग्जाम let's say दिसंबर में है, नवंबर दिसंबर. So if you want to fully prepare for term 1, then you would be getting subscription plan for September, October, November and December till your final exams. जब तक final exam नहीं होते हैं. So let's say we have 4 months. 4 months के लिए if you are getting it. So yeah, the initial price actually original price is 7,000 rupees for 4 months. Don't forget the fact. Okay, but if you apply a coupon code because you are attending Shilpi Ma'am session, so कुछ तो आपको फायदा होगा सेशन से, and that is the coupon code that you can use SKA Pro. and उसके बाद instead of 7,000 you are only supposed to pay 6,300 rupees for how many months? Till your final exam. पूरा पैकेज है. You are getting a lot of subjects there, and क्या क्या मिलेगा? All the sessions would be live. Still there won't be any sort of recording. All sessions would be live. Test series and analysis would be done. So this time per test series is very important, because Vedantu per we have students from 35 plus countries in the world, so you are getting quite healthy competition, so you can know your rank and performance among all the students of all the batches of ICSE. Isn't it amazing? So you will have a look of the competition. अच्छा कितना competition चल रहा है, you will have a note of that, and whatever are your mistakes, they all would be analyzed very well. You would be given a detailed pattern, detail solution where you need to work hard. These are your strengths and weaknesses, वो सब होगा. And इस time पर if you are not even prepared with the notes, then you are also getting the notes. Don't worry about it. Okay, doubt solving during the class and doubt solving after the class, ये तो बात करनी ही पड़ेगी. देखो, pro light as well as pro light and pro classic, after applying Shilpi Ma'am's coupon code, you both of them you are getting for 6,300 rupees. So better you go for classic. Different कैसे होगा? Classic में you are getting doubt solving during the live sessions, but even after that you are getting a mobile application जिसमें from 8 AM to 11 PM whatever is your doubt, you can get all of them resolved on the application. And इस time पर doubts are very important बेटा. If you are studying something and you're not clearing your doubts, इसका मतलब पता है क्या होगा? One day before your exam, all the doubts would be penned up. They all would be piled up together and be like, ma'am, I don't understand this. So it's very important, साथ साथ clear करो. इसीलिए come in the subscription. If not for 4 months, you don't want a complete package, ma'am, it's too much, 6,300, I cannot pay at once. It's okay. We have a better plan for you for 1 month subscription. ठीक है, 1 month तो आप afford कर सकते हो, उसके लिए कुछ होगा भी नहीं. 1 month के लिए you can try for 2,600 rupees. After applying Shilpi Ma'am's coupon code SKA Pro, you will get some discount. वो भी ठीक है. This is for per month you are paying, and वो पूरा जो price है 6,300 that you are paying for complete term 1 till your final exam. So that depends on you. If you just want to and yeah, this is the original price 2,600, but after applying SKA Pro you just need to pay 2,340 rupees. And why I am saying just, because you are getting unlimited classes. पूरा प्रिपरेशन कराया जाएगा. All the important subjects are being covered over there. So if maths and science अगर आप कर लोगे अच्छे से, like 70% pressure would be like off your head. Be like, okay, I'm relaxed, and it's just about 1 month. That's not too much. You don't need to take it again, because 1 month में you have unlimited classes. Take the best out of it. Don't overthink. ठीक है, I know you people think about your parents, isn't it? So I can understand all of that, but still you should think about it, because they will be also happy when you're gonna score like 97, 98%, 100% is also possible. Don't underestimate yourself. So yeah, new batches for ICSE also are starting from the month of September only, next week. Okay, so you need to check that out. नया ICSE का batch में कब enrollment होगा? Very next week you will get it, because the past batches of crash courses are filled now. Okay, so this is the best time. SKA Pro will help you, and Shilpi Ma'am will just share one thing with you, what you need to do, how you have to take the subscription. This is the video that you are attending right now. You need to go in the description box of this video. यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगा, देखो, this is for your simple sample papers are also uploaded there. Okay, VIP extra 10% discount you would be getting from here. So yeah, class 10, select your target exam. दिस इज NTSE. ऐसे ही आप सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो जो भी आपको करना है, ठीक है, वॉट एवर एग्जाम यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर. आई नीड टू चेंज. सो या, ग्रेड 10 term 1 and term 2 you can go here for ICSE. These are the 3 plans that we are having. Pro Light, Pro Classic के बारे में ma'am has told you already. You also get a doubt solving mobile application, and plus में you get a personal mentor. अगर कुछ भी नहीं आता, you need extra attention, तो go for it. Otherwise I would just advise you Light subscription 1 month, best thing. You would be, एक महीने के बाद देखोगे, you would be so confident, मैम पूरा syllabus we have covered in the month of September only. So October, November में just give all your time in the revision then. Once you are done with the crash course and all the topics you have filled all the gaps, then you can do it, and these are the payment options available. Talk to your parents, think about it, because your parents always know the best for us, isn't it? सोचो इसके बारे में, ठीक है. Okay, now we are continuing this thing, the electrolysis process that we are having. So let's take an example. We want to do, कितना करेंगे हम, थोड़ा सा और करेंगे, don't worry, ठीक है, we will very soon complete the chapter. So yeah, electrolysis process, let's say we are doing for fused और aqueous solution. अभी aqueous की बात नहीं करते हैं. I have taken sodium chloride का fused solution. Fused means I have taken like molten solution. So this is my electrolytic tank, जिसमें I have taken NaCl in the fused state, मतलब almost like in the melted round, and these are my 2 electrodes. The electrodes to the positive terminal, anode, and connected to the negative is cathode, having a negative charge. Okay, and what is your electrolyte here? Sodium chloride is my electrolyte. When I am passing electricity through the fused solution of NaCl, it will break down in the presence of electricity to give me sodium ions and chloride ions. So in the solution we are having Na plus Cl negative. There is no other ion. So sodium ion, being a positive ion, would be attracted to the negative cathode, and cathode पर क्या होता है? Reduction, that is gain of electrons. So sodium ion will go to the cathode and it will gain 2 electrons and would be making sodium. You say ma'am why 2 electrons? आप simple कर लो, ये कर लो. Sodium ion gains 1 electron, gets deposited as sodium. So metal you are getting at cathode, ठीक है. Okay, now similarly this chloride ion be like anode is calling it. बुलाती है मगर जाने का नहीं, बट यहाँ पर क्लोराइड बोलेगा जाने का, भाई पॉजिटिव चार्ज इज कॉलिंग मी. सो दिस क्लोराइड नेगेटिव इज अट्रैक्टेड टू पॉजिटिव एनोड. वहाँ पर जाकर क्लोराइड क्या करेगा? इट हैज़ टू डिस्चार्ज इटसेल्फ, मतलब एवरी आयन वांट्स टू गेट न्यूट्रल, राइट. सो क्लोराइड इज नेगेटिव आयन, सो इट वुड बी लाइक आई विल लूज द इलेक्ट्रॉन and I will be neutral. I will get discharged, मतलब I will get rid of the charge. So what happens? Anode पर anyway आपको पता है क्या होता है? Oxidation होता है, loss of electrons. So chloride ions will lose the electron and get converted to chlorine atom, but that is not even stable. So one chlorine atom combines with another chlorine atom to form chlorine gas. So I need to balance the reaction, 2 chloride ions and here 2 electrons. Now one thing, there is a rule of electrolysis. Whatever is the number of ions that are lost at the anode, like I'm talking about the electrons, whatever is the number of electrons that are lost at the anode, they should be equal to electrons gained at the cathode, क्योंकि ये जो दो इलेक्ट्रॉन निकलते हैं via this metal wire, these two electrons will go and reach the cathode. ओके, सो मेक श्योर ये इलेक्ट्रॉन्स जो है इक्वल हो. इलेक्ट्रॉन्स लॉस्ट एट द एनोड शुड बी इक्वल टू इलेक्ट्रॉन्स गेन्ड एट द कैथोड. सो बिकॉज यहाँ पर 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आर लॉस्ट, इसका मतलब एट एनोड 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स निकले थे, तो एट कैथोड 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन शुड बी गेन. एंड टू न्यूट्रलाइज द चार्ज 2 सोडियम आयॉन्स, 2 सोडियम atom, that would be a neutral case. ठीक है, so this is how chlorine gas you are getting at the anode and sodium metal at the cathode. So simple conclusion that we can draw, वही बात, number of positive charges on ions is equal to the negative charges on the ions, and आपको बताया मैम ने they should be equal. ओके, एंड जितना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आप लाइक कंडक्ट होगा, बेसिकली वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द कंडक्टेंस. द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंडक्टेड बाय द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ आयॉन्स. इफ इन योर aqueous solution or in your electrolyte the number of ions are more, then electricity ज़्यादा कंडक्ट होगी, है ना, and there would be like more conductance, isn't it, because of more availability of ions, more charge carriers. That is the simple thing. Now let's see a difference between the conduction of the metals and the electrolytes also. So जो metals होते हैं जैसे copper, I have taken the example, they can conduct electricity in solid as well as fused state, because metals have free electrons availability. They are good electron donors, you know that. So solid state में भी they have like free electrons, they can conduct electricity, but electrolyte मैम ने बताया था only in fused, melted or aqueous solution. Okay, and metals are not going to undergo any thermal decomposition, but electrolyte, the moment you are passing electricity, they will undergo thermal decomposition. Yes, and electricity is conducted due to free electrons in the metals, and यहाँ पर there could be the free ions availability. Okay, जैसे if you talk about copper sulfate in the solid state, it cannot conduct electricity, no free ions. वही concept है sodium chloride in the solid state वाला, not conducting electricity. Okay, simple. Okay, the next thing is the electrochemical series. So एक और चीज़ होता है, we have electrochemical series. Now this is something that you need to learn. Okay, so I need your I need some sort of effort from your side. That should be learned. Okay, effort from your side to learn the electrochemical series. So what is that? Just say you have done reactivity series and displacement reaction. We have electrochemical series of the ions, जिसमें the arrangement of ions are done depending on their ease to be neutralized. जैसे let's say you have chloride ions and you have OH ions in the same electrolytic solution. So now you're confused, ma'am, which negative ion will go to the positive anode? There is a competition. Both ions cannot go. So whenever you come in a Menti session, तो आपको पता है Menti में only one name comes on the leaderboards on the top. The very first rank holder is one. Just like that, 2 ions are competing. Only one will be discharged. वो कौन सा discharge होगा? That depends on a lot of factors. One such factor is electrochemical series. Okay. And the arrangement of ions is in such a way that the ion which is lying at the bottommost position in the electrochemical series, that is always preferentially discharged. मतलब मान लो अगर OH ions नीचे आ रहा है, Cl is ऊपर, तो OH ion would be having more tendency to get discharged. Okay, so electrochemical series आपको याद करना पड़ेगा, different for cations, different for anions. Ma'am will share a trick with you. देखो, you can just remember it. Potassium ions, calcium, sodium, magnesium. Some arrangement is ulta. आप कुछ में देखोगे sodium is kept before calcium. Okay, I will share a trick with you whenever we will have Menti on this session. So for the electrochemical series, I will be sharing a trick for you. Okay, trick with you. So yeah, you can see that cation which is lying in the bottommost position, that can be discharged with maximum ease. Discharge का क्या मतलब है? Let's say you are having the silver ion, you have zinc ion in the same electrolytic solution. Okay, these are positive ions, they would be attracted to the negative cathode, and cathode per reduction happens. So this silver ion will go to cathode, gain electron rapidly and make Ag. Cations are discharged at cathode by gaining the electrons, and ऊपर वाले they would be discharged with the maximum difficulty. So you're getting the point? ठीक है, everything is sorted, there is nothing to be confused about. Anions are negative, they are going to the positive anode, वहाँ पर जाकर losing the electrons. Okay, then you have your cations going to the cathode, वहाँ पर जाकर gaining the electrons. So that's all which is happening. The anions में you can see sulfate, nitrate, fluoride. So how you can remember this? OH सबसे नीचे है. So OH ions would be having the maximum tendency to get discharged among all these. So it will quickly go to your anode and वहाँ पर जाकर it would be losing the electrons over there. So you can do it. Sun face CBI. Oh, like that's a simple trick. Sun, you can just remember, oh my god, sun face CBI. देखो sun से ये दो हो जाएंगे, sun face CBI. Oh, like I'll share more tricks with you next time, that will make some sense. Okay, so yeah, preferential discharge ma'am was talking about, it doesn't only depend on the reactivity series, सिर्फ इसी पे depend नहीं करता है electrochemical series पर, it also depends on the concentration of ions in the electrolyte. समटाइम्स व्हेन द कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड सोल्यूशन आपने मान लो NaCl का ले लिया है, तो कभी कभी डिपेंड करता है कॉन्सेंट्रेशन पर भी. इफ सम आयॉन्स आर प्रेजेंट इन लार्ज अमाउंट इन द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, देन दे आर प्रेफरेंशियली डिस्चार्ज्ड इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द पोजीशन इन द इलेक्ट्रोकेमिकल सीरीज. सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट वन पॉइंट, एग्जाम में आता है विच 3 फैक्टर्स are responsible for deciding the preferential discharge of ions. So relative position of cation or anion in the electrochemical series, that is one thing. Apart from that, the concentration of ions in the electrolyte, वो important है. ठीक है, किसका ज़्यादा है कम है वो देखेंगे. And it also depends on the nature of electrode, मतलब जो the type of electrode, the type of anode cathode that you are taking, that is also gonna impact your electrolysis वाले product. Because if you are taking inert electrode, inert are like non-reactive electrodes, they are not interested what is happening in the reaction. लेकिन जो reactive electrodes होते हैं, they participate in the electrolysis, they can alter the product, right? So we need to understand that जैसे inert में majorly we go with carbon graphite, okay, we go with platinum, they are some inert. And reactive में तो हम metal ही लेते हैं, जैसे copper का आपने किया electrolysis copper salt का, you are taking copper electrode. nickel लिया nickel electrolysis like you are doing nickel electrode, nickel की किसी electrolytic solution का आपने किया, that depends on that. Okay, so all these points you will understand in these examples of electrolysis that we would be doing now. So very first example that ma'am is talking about is electrolysis of fused lead bromide. So please remember that your exam is multiple choice question, so you can be asked about the observations directly. So make sure आप observations को ना याद करके रखो. ठीक है, you should learn this, that what color, this is the color of the gas you are getting at this terminal, at this electrode, identify it, XYZ. There could be a lot of questions. Okay, so देखो, we have taken the same thing, we have taken a tank, electrolytic tank, then we have taken this metal plate electrodes आपने लिया है, and these electrodes are inert electrodes in this process. फ्यूज्ड लेड ब्रोमाइड में आई एम टेकिंग इनर्ट इलेक्ट्रोड. सो आप जा सकते हो सिंपल ग्रेफाइट के साथ. ग्रेफाइट का कैथोड एंड ग्रेफाइट इज द एनोड, दे विल नॉट पार्टिसिपेट इन द प्रोसेस. सेकेंड थिंग, आई हैव टेकन फ्यूज्ड लेड ब्रोमाइड. फ्यूज्ड का मतलब देर इज जस्ट द मेल्टेड फॉर्म ऑफ लेड ब्रोमाइड अराउंड इट्स मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, मोल्टन स्टेट. सो देर इज नो अदर आयन अपार्ट फ्रॉम लेड एंड ब्रोमाइड आयन्स connected to the battery. This is negative terminal से negative, this is cathode, positive से positive. And electrolyte आपका क्या है? That is lead bromide. The moment you are passing electricity, lead bromide will break down to give us lead ions and bromide ions. So electrolyte में you are having these two ions, lead ions and bromide ions, and बीच में we also have a semi-permeable membrane. It allows the selective passage of the ions. That is not our concern right now. Okay, so what will happen? This lead ion बोलेगा अरे I am positive ion and cathode is calling me. So this lead ion will be attracted to the cathode, and I know that at cathode what happens? याद करो, N देखो यहाँ पर लिख लो NCr pow. If you use this trick, okay. So let's see that vada pow, positive anode oxidation. Positive anode oxidation. NCr, negative cathode reduction. ये लिख लेना पहले ही साइड में. Okay, and then I know oil trick. चलो let's see. Lead ions, positive ions attracted to the negative cathode, and cathode पर होता है reduction, and reduction is gain of electrons. So these lead ions will gain 2 electrons and would be depositing as the lead metal. On the other hand, these bromide ions would be attracted to the positive anode. Anode पर होगा oxidation. So bromide ions would be removing the electrons out, loss of electrons, and I need to balance this reaction. 2 bromide 2 electron. यहाँ पर भी you have to make sure reaction चलो balanced है already, electrons 2 and 2 same. So what we are getting? We are getting bromine at the anode, lead at the cathode, right? So what is the observation? This is important, so make sure you learn the observation. That is silvery gray deposit at the cathode. वो क्या है? That is, we are talking about the lead metal, silvery gray deposit, and reddish brown vapors would be formed at the anode. वो किसके वेपर्स हैं? ब्रोमीन गैस के. दिस इज फॉर द लेड and reddish brown vapors for the bromine gas. Now one more thing that you need to remember in this electrolysis process was the type of cell that you would be taking. समझो, lead bromide you have taken, उसका फ्यूज्ड स्टेट मतलब मेल्टेड स्टेट आप ले रहे हो, मतलब लेड ब्रोमाइड को यू हैव टू हीट टू अ वेरी हाई टेम्परेचर, एंड ग्लास अपैरेटस कैन नॉट विदस्टैंड दैट हाई टेम्परेचर. सो व्हाट डू आई नीड सम अनदर टाइप ऑफ कंटेनर, और यहाँ पर सिलिका क्रूसिबल इज यूज्ड. सिलिका क्रूसिबल आप यूज करते हो दैट कैन विदस्टैंड हाई टेम्परेचर. ओके, सो इफ यू आर हीटिंग योर लेड ब्रोमाइड फॉर क्वाइट अ लॉन्ग टाइम, सो वो ब्रेक नहीं होगा. ओके, इट कैन विदस्टैंड हाई टेम्परेचर, and also it's non-reactive. It won't be disturbing your entire electrolysis, whatever you are doing the product. Okay, so with this we are done with the electrolysis of lead bromide. Remember all the products, they are very important. Now the next thing would be the electrolysis of your acidified water, right? So we will see that. So the next thing that we need to discuss is the electrolysis of the acidified water, right? Now why do we need acidified water? We need to understand this. So water is a very weak electrolyte. So in the pure state it's almost a non-conductor of electricity. So let's say I've taken water, so you know it's gonna get partially ionized to give me H plus and OH negative, so that alone cannot carry out electrolysis. So just to increase that thing, we have to add small amount of an acid. Let's say I would be adding sulfuric acid, which is a very strong electrolyte, right? So concentration of ions will also increase, and because of that this electrolysis can be carried out easily, right? So that is why you don't have to take pure water whenever you are doing the electrolysis. Make sure you are adding just 1 drop, that is also sufficient, of the acid, right? So what happens now? One more thing, don't go for the nitric acid. If you're going to take dilute nitric acid, then that is volatile in nature. Okay, so what will happen? Volatile means it is easily converted to the vapors, so it might interfere in the electrolytic reaction, it might interfere with your product. So we have to make sure that we are taking a non-volatile acid which is not easily converted to the vapors, like sulfuric acid dilute solution you can take. That works best for it, right? So now how would be the electrolysis carried out? What kind of ions would be present into the electrolyte? You should be aware of that. Like water is going to give us H plus ions, OH ions. Similarly, from the sulfuric acid we are getting H plus ions, along with that sulfate ion. So that means in the electrolyte what kind of ions are present? H plus is common from water as well as from the acid. Apart from that, sulfate ions are coming, SO4 2 negative, and also we are having these OH ions. Now one reaction is very much like obvious, that is only one kind of positive ion is there, that is H plus. So this H plus would be attracted towards the negative terminal, that is towards the cathode side. Cathode is the negative terminal, H plus will go there. At cathode, you know, gain of electrons, reduction happens, it will gain electron and release hydrogen gas over there. So it's important that we balance this reaction. Okay, 2 H plus ion, 2 electrons, so hydrogen gas is liberated at the cathode. The second thing, now preferential discharge concept will come here, because we have two negative ions, one sulfate and one OH ion, isn't it? So अब यहाँ पर कौन जीतेगा? You need to see that series. Ma'am told you. So if you see OH ions lies in the bottommost part, like सबसे नीचे होता है in your series of discharge that I showed you, right? So here OH negative is gonna win the race and OH ion will be going to your anode. ठीक है, and anode पर जाकर क्या होता है? You know, anode पर oxidation happens, it would be losing the electrons, and finally what gas is liberated? That is the oxygen gas. Along with that water is also formed. So I'm gonna give you a reaction. ये reaction थोड़ा सा like you know समझने में students find it difficult, so I'm gonna tell you a breakup here. Breakup of reaction I'm talking about. This OH ions go to the anode. Anode पर जाकर you know it will lose the electron and make OH. Now OH is not stable, है ना, that cannot be a stable product. So OH क्या करेगा? It will combine with another OH unit, and यहाँ से there would be the liberation of water, H2O. Along with that we get oxygen atom. Now again oxygen atom is not stable, so this oxygen atom combines with another oxygen atom and finally leads to the liberation of oxygen gas. तो ऐसे भी आप याद रख सकते हो if you you know find it difficult to remember the entire reaction. So overall we can write it like this: 4 OH we are having is gonna give us 2 water plus oxygen. 4 OH ion and 4 electrons are lost over here. This would be the reaction at the anode. So anode पर कौन सा gas आता है? That is oxygen gas. Now one more thing ma'am told you, that number of electrons lost at anode must be equal to electrons gained at cathode. So cathode पर भी you have to make sure यहाँ पर 4 electrons हो. So we can multiply this reaction by 2. So it will be giving us 4 H plus ions, है ना, will give us 2 hydrogen plus 4, like यहाँ पर you can show माइनस दिखा दो, यहाँ पर दिखा दो, plus 4 electrons, because this electron exchange should be equal, right? So when you are doing electrolysis of the acidified water, then what is the product? We are getting two observation. Colorless gas is liberated at cathode, हाइड्रोजन गैस. कलरलेस गैस इज रिलीज एट एनोड, और कौन सा गैस था? ऑक्सीजन गैस था. याद रखना प्रोडक्ट, दिस कैन डायरेक्टली कम इन योर मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन एग्जाम, राइट? ओके, let's see the next thing, that is electrolysis of copper sulfate with active electrodes. Second thing I told you, एक पहला चीज होता है the product at the respective electrodes depends on your series. जो आपने electrochemical series देखा था, the discharge potential, which ion is having more tendency to get discharged at the respective electrodes. That was one point. Apart from that, I talked about the concentration of the electrolyte that you are taking, right? And उसके अलावा मैंने बोला था type of electrodes that you are taking, whether they are active means they would be participating in the electrolysis process. If they are inert, they won't be participating in the process. So यहाँ पर we are trying to do electrolysis of copper sulfate solution with the active electrodes. Active electrodes कौन से लिए हैं? Copper electrodes. So whatever is the electrolyte, like whatever is the metal present, metal ion in the electrolyte, the same metal electrode we have taken. Copper sulfate, copper का solution I have taken as electrolyte, so copper electrodes I have taken, so they will be participating in the reaction. Okay, Electrolyte क्या है? Aqueous solution of copper sulfate. So now on passing electricity, it will give us copper ions, sulfate ions. Because aqueous है, that means water is also there. So water will also break to give us H plus and OH ions. So in the electrolyte, how many ions are there? यहाँ पर देखो कौन कौन से ions हैं आपके पास. Copper ion, sulfate is there, H plus and OH ions is there. But inert electrodes नहीं है, reactive electrodes are present. It means cathode is also made up of copper, which is connected to negative of the battery. Anode is also made up of copper, that is connected to positive of the battery. So now what happens whenever you are taking it, and यहाँ पर मैंने क्या लिया है, I have taken my electrolyte, that your copper sulfate का aqueous solution. So what happens the moment we are passing the electricity, the moment current is being passed, this anode which is made up of copper, यहाँ से क्या होगा, this is your anode, this is cathode. So this copper atom जो भी होगा electrode से, it will release Cu2 plus ion along with the liberation of 2 electrons. This is the reaction that happens at the anode. क्योंकि इस बार आपने reactive लिया है. Like this time you are taking the reactive electrode. So if this is visible on your screen, you can let ma'am know. Otherwise मैं यहाँ पर दिखा देती हूँ. यहाँ पर देखो, this is anode. So copper will be immediately giving out 2 electrons and will be releasing Cu2 plus ions. Now these 2 electrons will pass from here. ये 2 electron यहाँ से यहाँ आ जाते हैं. Electrons will be coming to the cathode from anode. They travel via wire, and these Cu2 plus ions go into the solution. जो copper ions हैं, they go into the electrolyte. Now what happens in the electrolyte? The concentration of copper ions will increase. Yes or no? Tell me in the comment section. Definitely it will increase now, because यहाँ पर imbalancing हो गया. The electrodes is giving more and more copper ions into the electrolyte. So electrolyte would be like, अरे so many copper ions are coming, so there would be a charge imbalancing. Sulfate ions are less and copper ions are continuously increasing in the electrolyte. So these copper ions now are attracted towards the cathode. They see, अरे we have somewhere to go, we have one place, cathode is calling us. So all these copper ions which were coming from anode going into the electrolyte, now they will be traveling to the cathode. So cathode पर जाकर क्या होगा, these copper 2 plus ions coming from electrolyte, and electrolyte में they are coming from anode, anode to electrolyte, electrolyte to cathode. They would be gaining the electron and get deposited as copper metal. So cathode पर ये होता है, copper ions gain electron to form copper. Again copper is reduced. You will say, ma'am, why H plus is not going? So copper is reduced preferentially easier than your H plus ions. बोलेगा, अरे let me gain electrons, I have more tendency to do that, right? So that is why Cu2 plus ions are going and H plus is right there in your electrolyte. So that is how products can vary depending on the type of electrode that you have taken. Okay, yeah, so देखो लिखा हुआ है, since anode is an active electrode, it undergoes oxidation very quickly to release the copper ions. So this is how it happens in the observations that you would be getting during the process, because anode is continuously giving copper ions in the solution, continuously oxidation हो रहा है. So you will see that anode diminishes in the size. It will keep on becoming thin and thin, because all this copper, this is made up of copper, and these copper atoms are converted to the ions and going into the electrolyte. So this situation keeps on happening, and cathode gains massive, like you would be getting a lot of their deposition. ठीक है, massive deposition हो जाता है वहाँ पर. किसका? The copper metal that you are getting. यहाँ से copper ions is going to the cathode. So here you will see copper metal deposition would be there. Okay, and what is the color? You can say brownish pink metal. कॉपर के लिए हम यूज़ करते हैं कलर. सो अगर एग्जाम में आए दैट वी आर डूइंग इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस एंड सो ऑब्जर्वेशन में एट कैथोड यू आर गेटिंग अ ब्राउनिश पिंक कलर मेटल. व्हाट इज दैट मेटल? सो रिमेंबर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कॉपर देयर, राइट. एंड ब्लू कलर ऑफ सोल्यूशन रिमेन्स द सेम. आपने कॉपर सल्फेट लिया था एज द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, एंड बिकॉज कॉपर आयॉन्स आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द एनोड Excess of copper ions go to the cathode. So overall solution में copper and sulfate का concentration is neutral, so that is managed. So copper sulfate ka blue color remains the same, right? So that was with the electrolysis when you are having those like active electrodes. Let's understand if I am doing the same process, but this time I have taken anode electrodes. I have taken platinum electrodes. They are not going to participate in the electrolysis. So I am interested to know that whether the products are going to vary. आपको क्या लगता है? The product would be different? No, or they would be same. So याद रखना examiner ने क्या दिया हुआ है. Depending on that, products definitely will vary. So here also electrolyte is same. Aqueous solution of copper sulfate, same kind of ions in the electrolyte. Now we will see what happens. Because this electrode is not made up of copper, this is not active, this is not going to participate in the reaction, this would be giving me a simple process out of H plus and Cu2 plus. Now which ions would be preferentially going to your cathode? So we have to think about it, ठीक है. And उसके अलावा you have sulfate and OH ion, so we need to think that what will happen. Okay, so here what happens similarly, cathode के ऊपर you know out of H plus and Cu2 plus copper ions will win. Same story. So copper ions will go to the cathode, reduction होगा and copper का deposition is gonna take place. One product is same. I don't see any difference. वहाँ पर भी cathode पर copper was getting deposited, here also. But if I talk about reaction at anode, anode के ऊपर sulfate and OH ions are having a fight. But you know electrochemical series याद करो, कौन नीचे था? OH ion was lying at the bottom, so it has more tendency to get oxidized at the anode. So now OH ions will be going to the anode. There would be a liberation of simple the same reaction series जो मैम ने अभी बताया था आपको. वहाँ पर क्या होगा? Water and oxygen would be formed. So oxygen gas का liberation happens at the anode and reaction same होगा. अगर भूल जाओ कभी, you can make it like that. एनोड पर OH ions लूज इलेक्ट्रॉन, ये न्यूट्रल हो जाएगा, जीरो. यहाँ लिख लो थोड़ा सा, अगर आई विल यूज इरेजर, वेट अ मिनट. You can draw it directly also. This is just for those students who are confused, like they don't understand how to write it. So OH ion will lose this electron. Now OH is not stable, it combines with another OH, liberation of water along with oxygen atom. This is not stable, so it will finally give me O2 gas. So यहाँ पर क्या होगा? Overall oxygen gas का liberation will happen at the anode. In that case, you know the reaction was different. At the anode, copper metal was getting oxidized to give us copper ions, है ना. यहाँ पर these reactions are written here. You can see that cathode पर simple copper is deposited and at anode oxygen gas का liberation is there. So make sure question में क्या पूछा हुआ है. Observations would be different. Anode पर we are getting a colorless gas, that is your O2, and at cathode a brownish pink metal is deposited. वहाँ पर क्या हो रहा था? When you took the active electrodes, वहाँ पर anode का size was continuously getting diminished, right? Because it was going into the solution. And yes, the blue color of the solution fades away. Point to be noted, when you are taking the active electrodes, then solution color was still blue. It was not fading away because copper sulfate were still balanced into the electrolyte. यहाँ पर क्या होगा? The copper ions discharged at cathode are not replaced by the anode. All these copper ions from the electrolyte are going to the cathode, but that copper ion की vacancy is not filled from the anode. पिछले केस में क्या हो रहा था? Whatever copper ions from the electrolyte were going to your cathode, the same amount of copper ions were given by anode. So that is why यहाँ से copper ions आ रहे थे, यहाँ से जा रहे थे. So overall solution was giving you blue color because still there was like equal concentration of copper and sulfate. यहाँ पर deficiency of copper ions is created in the electrolyte. That is not being fulfilled here, है ना. सो दैट इज हाउ यू कैन रिमेंबर दैट द कलर जो है वो फेड हो जाएगा. इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑब्जर्वेशंस, राइट. Okay, chalo, that is easy. Now the next thing we will discuss are the applications of electrolysis. बहुत प्यारे 3 applications we will study. Electroplating. So in electroplating what happens, जैसे you have done galvanization. Electroplating आपने किया है. Iron you know is a metal which gets rusted very easily, है ना. So rusting से prevent करने के लिए हम कभी कभी क्या करते हैं, we do tin plating, chromium plating on the surface of iron so that it's prevented from rusting. Just like that, let's say you have your copper jewelry को you will do a silver color का polish. So artificial jewelries होती है ना जिसपे electroplating हम लोग कर देते हैं. So all that we would be understanding here. In electrorefining itself means purification. So it is a process in which your impure metals are purified. So this is extensively used in metallurgy process. We will discuss that. And finally electrometallurgy, for the extraction of metals from their fused salt. जैसे let's say you are having NaCl. NaCl is rock salt, है ना, that is ore of sodium, and you want to obtain sodium from it. Then you cannot use a normal reducing agent because this bond is very strong. So in that case we have to go with the electrometallurgy. Okay, all that we would be discussing there. So yeah, let's get started. But before that there are some conditions that you have to keep in mind. First, देखो ये बहुत important है, practice कर लेना. In the sample paper also ICSE has given a lot of questions from this topic, this chapter particularly, right? So make sure that you cover it very well. The article which is to be plated is placed at the cathode. इसका क्या मतलब है? Let's avoid the confusion. Let's say you are having your spoon. ठीक है, आपके पास spoon है. I don't know how to draw spoon. I'm so sorry. This is brass spoon. Brass spoon है and you want it to be converted into silver color का spoon. So this brass spoon would be taken at the cathode. The article on which you want some deposition to do, that article should be taken at the cathode. ठीक है, because metal जो होता है that deposits at the cathode. So if I want my brass spoon to be coated with silver, then I will take brass spoon at the cathode and silver metal I will take at the anode. This is how it works. Okay. The second thing, the metal to be plated is always made at anode. जैसे बताया मैम ने, अगर आप सिल्वर लेना चाहते हो, सिल्वर का डिपोजिशन you want to do on the brass spoon, then silver must be taken at the anode, and it should also be replaced periodically because this metal at the anode will be consumed continuously during the process. It is going into the electrolyte. Electrolyte से the ions are going to the cathode, so your anode is consumed continuously. It will keep on becoming thin and thin, so we have to replace it periodically. A question that was given in sample paper. Okay, the false statement was asked. Okay, the electrolyte must contain the ions of the metal to be plated on the article. जैसे I want to plate silver on the brass spoon, then I have to take electrolyte which should contain silver ions. ठीक है, the metal which I want to deposit on some another surface, I have to take the electrolyte of the same metal ion. So मैं silver ion का ही कुछ electrolyte लूँगी that should be having silver ions into it. Okay, we will discuss all of that. Fourth point, a low current must be passed for a longer time. You don't have to pass like a huge amount of current all at once. अगर ऐसा करोगे there would be non-uniform you can say deposition on the article, and we don't want that. हमें चाहिए बहुत smooth deposition हो, उसके लिए low current, धीरे धीरे we will do that. Direct current should be used. Again sample paper में all these 3 points were made as the options. You had to tell the wrong statement, right? So direct current हमें लेना है again for the effective coating. ठीक है, so that there is uniform coating and it looks good. Otherwise what is the purpose of doing electroplating, isn't it? Okay, चलो, now let's discuss it for the electroplating of an article with the nickel. nickel के साथ हम कर रहे हैं. This is my setup, anode, cathode. Cathode पर I have taken scissors. Okay, this is the article, and on the scissors I want to do the deposition of nickel. So nickel I have taken at anode, and at cathode I have taken the article on which I need to do the deposition. Now electrolyte must be of the same metal ions जिसका I want to do the deposition. जैसे I want to deposit nickel on my scissors, so my electrolyte should contain nickel ion. So I have taken nickel sulfate का solution. Okay, so that means nickel ions, sulfate ions are there in my electrolyte. ठीक है, सो यहाँ से क्या होगा, बिकॉज यू आर टेकिंग एन रिएक्टिव इलेक्ट्रोड, रिएक्टिव है, सो द मोमेंट यू आर पासिंग द करंट फ्रॉम द एनोड, दीज निकल एटम्स आर गिना, यहाँ पर देखो निकल एट एनोड विल बी ऑक्सीडाइज टू गिव अस निकल आयॉन्स with 2 electrons. These 2 electrons will flow from here, go to the cathode, and nickel ions go into the electrolyte. Nickel ions कहाँ पर जाएंगे? From the anode, they are going into the electrolyte. Now in electrolyte, nickel ion concentration will increase. These nickel ions will head on the article. Cathode की side पर जाएंगे all these nickel ions. So these nickel ions cathode पर होगा what? Reduction, gain of electron, and there would be deposition of nickel on my scissors. So ये वही हो रहा है जो मैम ने अभी बताया था. यू डिड द इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस ऑफ कॉपर सल्फेट सॉल्यूशन यूजिंग द कॉपर इलेक्ट्रोड्स, है ना. द सेम थिंग इज हैपनिंग हियर. यू हैव टेकन निकल एनोड एंड निकल एटम्स फ्रॉम द एनोड आर गेटिंग ऑक्सीडाइज्ड, गिविंग मी निकल आयॉन्स. दोज निकल आयॉन्स आर गोइंग इन माय इलेक्ट्रोलाइट. फ्रॉम द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट निकल आयॉन्स आर गोइंग टू द कैथोड, एंड कैथोड पर होता है रिडक्शन एंड निकल मेटल गेट्स डिपॉजिटेड ओवर देयर. Simple, you can do it. Similarly, try this at home. आपको सिल्वर के लिए करना है. You make the similar setup. On the cathode, you take your silver spoon. ठीक है, connect it to the battery. This is positive. यहाँ पर you take a silver metal का anode. This is anode. This is cathode. Silver का spoon. Not silver का मतलब brass का spoon ले लेना. And what would be the electrolyte that you would be taking? You can take sodium silver cyanide, like you also call it sodium argento cyanide, because argento, like it's coming from Latin name of silver, na, that is argentum. So there is one question that I want to discuss with you. ये exam में आता है that can I take silver nitrate, silver chloride as the electrolyte? क्या मैं ले सकती हूँ सिल्वर क्लोराइड, सिल्वर नाइट्रेट एज द इलेक्ट्रोलाइट, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो गिविंग मी सिल्वर आयॉन्स? No, they should not be used as electrolyte. The reason is that they are simple ionic compounds, है ना. ये ionic compounds है and they will be dissociated very quickly. They would be giving me a fast ionization. जल्दी जल्दी ये क्या करेंगे? They will break down and keep on giving me silver ion very quickly. So very quickly they will go to the cathode, will deposit. reduction होने के बाद silver metal will be deposited on the cathode. So यहाँ पर क्या होगा? Because of such a fast process there might be some irregular deposition. There won't be a uniform deposition, non-uniform deposition हो जाएगा. So we want कि धीरे धीरे ionization हो. So if you are taking this complex compound, यहाँ से silver को आने में time लगेगा, ठीक है. Silver this complex will take some time to get ionized. So धीरे धीरे the process will continue and you will be getting a even deposition on the article. So make sure you remember this point in mind. Otherwise all the things are like the same, and the conditions I have told you. Impure metal is always taken at the anode. Impure को हम हमेशा anode पर लेंगे in the electrorefining process. So that was about the electroplating. There is no doubt in electroplating. This is super important. Sample paper में they have given question from here. Now the second application is electrorefining. Purification हम कर रहे हैं, and for the purification you have to make sure that impure metal is taken at the anode. Okay, a thin sheet of pure metal should be taken at the cathode. Thin sheet pure metal का कहाँ पर आना चाहिए? cathode पर. Okay, and electrolyte must contain ions of the metal. ये बता दिया मैम ने. So देखो ऐसा होगा basic setup. This is my anode. This should be made up of impure metal. This is cathode. प्योर मेटल, ठीक है. इम्प्योर आपको थिक ब्लॉक लेना है बिकॉज यू वांट टू प्योरीफाई इट, एंड थिन स्ट्रिप ऑफ प्योर मेटल एज द कैथोड. एनोड पॉजिटिव, cathode negative, बस. and the electrolyte must be of the same metal ion that you want to purify. जैसे अगर मुझे कॉपर का प्योरिफिकेशन करना है then I need some कॉपर का ही electrolyte. Let's discuss it easy. ये आप कर भी चुके हो when I discuss that वो बताया था ना रिएक्टिव इलेक्ट्रॉन्स के केस में, द सेम थिंग. इलेक्ट्रोलाइट कॉपर सल्फेट सोल्यूशन वी हैव टेकन. इलेक्ट्रोड्स एट एनोड आई हैव टेकन इम्प्योर कॉपर. ओके, एट कैथोड आई हैव टेकन प्योर कॉपर, and this is the copper sulfate solution. So now you know what will happen from the anode. There would be oxidation, copper ions and 2 electrons. 2 electrons flow from here, come to the cathode, and these copper ions will go into the electrolyte. Electrolyte में copper ions का concentration बढ़ गया है. So from the electrolyte, these copper ions go to the cathode. Cathode पर जाने के बाद they will undergo reduction and will be deposited as the copper metal. So pure copper यहाँ पर deposit होता रहता है, होता रहता है, होता रहता है. You will get your simple reaction. Okay. So anode diminishes in the size with the passage of time and cathode becomes thicker. And apart from that, जो भी देखो यहाँ से when this copper was getting oxidized, at the same time all the insoluble impurities they get collected below anode only, because anode पर ही this copper is my impure. So when it is getting oxidized, impurities भी साथ में निकल रही हैं. And when I talk about impurities, then there would be 2 kind of impurities. The first one are the soluble impurities. Soluble जैसे मान लो आयरन मेटल, कुछ थोड़ा बहुत कॉपर के साथ आयरन प्रेजेंट होगा, that is soluble in the electrolyte. And the second would be insoluble kind of impurities. ठीक है, insoluble जैसे कि हो सकता है you have some gold, silver, ठीक है, ये सब कुछ जो नोबल मेटल्स आपके होते हैं. Okay, so you can extract them. So what will happen here? All the soluble impurities will dissolve into the electrolytic solution, but insoluble impurities they will settle down just below anode and will be making the anode mud. And from this anode mud you can extract the precious metals. ठीक है, क्या कर सकते हो? प्रीशियस मेटल्स का एक्सट्रैक्शन कर सकते हो बाद में. सो दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ द प्रोसेस. Okay, now the last third application is in the electrometallurgy, that is for the extraction of metals by electrolysis. Okay, extraction करने के लिए देखो when do we use this method? This is used for more reactive elements, like there are some metals of the highest reactivity. So if you wanna separate them out from their respective ore, then you can use electrometallurgy. जैसे I discussed sodium chloride, this bond is very strong. Aluminium oxide is there. This aluminium oxygen bond is very strong. अगर आपको break करना है, you cannot use any reducing agent. You need electricity. Electricity can break अच्छे खासे bonds. Electric shock. Okay. So what we will be discussing about the electrometallurgy में, I will give you a tip also. देखो, simple tip होता है, metal will always be deposited at the cathode. मेटल कैथोड पर डिपॉजिट होगा एंड द गैसेस आर डिपॉजिटेड एट, मतलब दे आर ऑब्टेन्ड एट द एनोड. मेटल विल बी डिपॉजिटेड एट द कैथोड एंड गैस इज लिबरेटेड एट एनोड. जैसे जब भी आप सोडियम क्लोराइड का इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस करोगे, इलेक्ट्रोमेटलर्जी मोल्टन सोल्यूशन का, देन मेटल सोडियम is deposited at the cathode and chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. Use it as a tip. जैसे मान लो आपके पास पोटेशियम ब्रोमाइड है, you are doing its electrolysis, so potassium metal would be deposited कहाँ पर? At the cathode, and bromine के vapors brown color would be obtained at the anode. हमेशा ऐसा होगा. Okay. This is very important. I will discuss it separately. Aluminium के हम अलग से भी डिस्कस करेंगे. तो यहाँ पर देखो, aluminium is obtained by the electrolysis of its oxide, that is alumina, Al2O3. Okay, and carbon lining of the cell acts as the cathode. The electrolytic cell में I will show you the setup. This देखो यहाँ पर you can see black color का thick line is there. This is carbon acting as the cathode, right? And carbon के ही anodes हम लेंगे graphite, मतलब you can say, because that is inert, that will not be participating. And apart from that, one more thing, see, aluminum oxide has a very high fusion temperature. मतलब if you want to take molten aluminum oxide, तो उसका temperature is like around 2000 degree Celsius, more than that, 2010 degree Celsius के आसपास you have its fusion temperature. So if you want to take molten solution of aluminum oxide, that is very difficult. So just to lower that fusion temperature, हम क्या करते हैं, in the pure alumina we add cryolite and fluorspar. Cryolite is Na3Al6, okay, and fluorspar is simply calcium fluoride. क्यों add करते हैं? To bring down fusion temperature, so that fusion temperature of alumina can decrease. It comes around 950 degrees Celsius. 2000 से 950 हो जाता है. प्लस द अनदर रीजन ऑफ एडिंग दिस इज दैट, देखो अगर आप कैल्शियम फ्लोराइड को देखो, इट हैज़ वेरी स्मॉल केटायंस इन एनायंस. Calcium ions, fluoride ions, they are very small ions, so they are very much mobile. ये fastly move कर सकते हैं, because of which the conductivity can increase, right? That is why we use it. So this question also comes in exam sometime. Why are you adding this and what do you add? So remember, cryolite and fluorspar. So electrolyte is a mixture of all these three things. यहाँ पर हमने उसको ले लिया है. Okay. So now what happens next? देखो simple होता है. इसके बाद you are having aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxide से aluminium ions are coming. These aluminium ions go to the cathode. वहाँ पर they gain the electrons and get deposited as aluminium metal. Aluminium यहाँ deposit हो जाता है. Then यहाँ से we make a like it's made in a slanted position. ऐसा slanted हम बनाते हैं and then we make an opening here so that we can get our aluminium metal extracted easily, right? Apart from that, the oxide ions, they are attracted to the anode and वहाँ पर जाकर liberation of oxygen gas will happen. But there is one problem with the method. There is one drawback of this method. और वो drawback क्या होता है? This anode is also made up of carbon. Anode किससे बना है? Carbon से बना है. And oxygen gas is also liberated at the anode. This is my anode, carbon. And oxygen is also liberated at the anode. This is my product. So what happens? Carbon, this anode keeps on reacting with the oxygen and releases carbon dioxide gas. So with the passage of time ये ना ख़त्म होता रहता है in the form of CO2. So इसके लिए हम coke को भी use करते हैं. We also use coke powder to avoid this. So care must be taken, and this is also exothermic reaction. So वहाँ पर काफ़ी like you know blast के भी chances होते हैं. So that is why we use coke powder also. We will discuss it separately in detail. Okay, when I would be discussing the extraction of aluminium, this is separately present in the syllabus, like in depth we will discuss that. Okay, taking all the steps. So yeah, that is the drawback, and these are the reactions that we have written. Cathode per aluminium and oxygen gas is liberated at the anode, right? Okay, so this was a big class because that was a one-shot revision session, and it might happen that you felt that Shilpi Ma'am was fast at some point, so you can go back and watch the replay, right? So that is the best part. वो वाला part देख लो, whatever you missed. And if in case you want help with your regular batches, with your regular syllabus completion, then come join us for 1 month. 1 month would be sufficient for you to score 40 on 40 in your term 1 exam in all the subjects. Yes, you just have to work hard with us because we are doing the crash courses already, and you will get to know about your performance rank among all the students, right? There is the coupon code SKA Pro on your screen, and do let me know the answer of this homework question in the comment section, and the question that I gave you in the beginning also. ठीक है? Give reason lead bromide undergoes electrolytic dissociation in molten state, but it is a non-electrolyte in solid state. answers in the comment section. And if in case you have any problem, you can reach out to Shilpi Ma'am. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I will see you next time. Bye bye.